You know, say recently, few days ago, one American passenger plane, we carry passengers, 60 passengers, with 4 crew members, with military helicopter, the two of them get accidents. Plane carrying passengers and military helicopter, the two of them get accident near airport, and the two of them land inside the sea. Many people have been telling me to explain the video. But then I found another video that explains it better than the way I would have explained it. So I say, Michael, play them to now. Ladies and gentlemen, this was what happened.
How did an American Airlines plane and a Black Hawk helicopter end up in a tragic crash while the plane was attempting to land on runway 33?
Okay.
In the videos ahead, we'll take a closer look at the final hours leading up to the crash.
Okay.
The confusion between the PAT-25 VIP military helicopter and the air traffic controller, and how the rescue operation is being carried out. More details all in the video ahead.
After the video, I will explain.
The plane had departed from Wichita Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport in Kansas earlier that evening. A PSA Airlines aircraft, operated under American Airlines and identified as Flight AA5342, collided midair with a military Black Hawk helicopter at approximately 9 p.m. on Wednesday, January 29, 2025. The tragic incident occurred as the plane was making its final approach toward Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington, Virginia. American Airlines confirmed that 64 people were aboard the jet, 60 passengers and 4 crew members, while 3 soldiers were aboard the military helicopter. This plane's radio transponder stopped transmitting about 2,400 feet, which is around 730 meters short of the runway, roughly over the middle of the river. This has marked the first major U.S. commercial crash in more than 15 years. From an aerial perspective, it is evident that Flight AA5342 was approaching the airport from the south, descending over the scenic Potomac River. This area is known for its proximity to several iconic landmarks, such as the Pentagon, located nearby in Pentagon City. To the north, one can spot the striking dome of the United States Capitol building, a symbol of American democracy. The Potomac River, which encircles the airport and much of Arlington, serves as a natural boundary and offers breathtaking views for arriving flights. However, this area is also densely trafficked, both by air and on the ground, adding to the complexity of air traffic management in the region.
So many places the flight.
American Airlines Flight 5342, which we'll refer to as the landing flight, was on its final approach to runway 33. At this stage, called short final, the aircraft was mere moments from landing, flying at an altitude of about 400 feet. This is the most critical phase of landing, where every second counts and pilots are laser focused on safely bringing the plane down.
So what's happened?
At the same time, an Army Black Hawk helicopter, identified as PAT-25, was reportedly on a possible training flight. It was flying perpendicular to the flight path of Flight 5342, following the course of the Potomac River. The Potomac River is a designated flight corridor for helicopters, and it's common to see aircraft like this operating in the area. The key difference between the two aircraft in this scenario was their operating rules. The Black Hawk helicopter, PAT-25, was flying under visual flight rules. This means it was required to rely on visual observation of its surroundings to avoid other aircraft. The landing flight 5342 was operating under instrument flight rules, which give it priority over VFR flights in controlled airspace. This system assumes that VFR aircraft will actively maintain visual separation to avoid conflicts. Moments before the collision, the air traffic control tower at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport called PAT-25 to confirm whether they had the other aircraft in sight. PAT-25 responded that they did. At first glance, this seems like an acknowledgement that they were aware of Flight 5342's presence and were taking steps to avoid it. However, it now seems likely that PAT-25 had mistakenly identified a different aircraft, possibly a departing flight from the same airport, and believed that was the other aircraft referred to by the tower. Tragically, PAT-25 may not have realized that Flight 5342 was descending directly into its path. This misidentification could have led to the Black Hawk failing to adjust its course in time to avoid a collision. Although I'm not a pilot, this is what appears to have happened based on the available information. It's a heartbreaking incident that raises questions about how such misunderstandings can occur and what safety measures can prevent them in the future. If you have more insight or expertise, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. The passenger plane broke into multiple pieces and sank several feet into the river. Meanwhile, the helicopter ended up landing upside down on the water. Regarding the rescue mission, the main challenge is access. The water they're working in is about 8 feet deep, which is roughly 2.5 meters.
8 feet
On
deep.
top of that, the conditions are tough. There's strong wind, chunks of ice floating around, which obstructs rescue workers. We also have audio from air traffic control that has been published online, capturing the moments as the two aircraft approach each other. In the recording, we can hear a conversation. It appears to involve the air traffic controller, with P standing for priority air transport, the helicopter, and CRJ referring to the passenger plane. The response seems to come from the helicopter, but something goes terribly wrong.
Okay.
The two aircraft continue to move closer to each other until they crash, and there was no response from the other side.
Sure.
This long-shot video, recorded by the Kennedy Center cam, seems to show two aircraft, a helicopter and a commercial airliner colliding, creating a huge flash. If you take a close-up shot, you can clearly see the Black Hawk helicopter traveling at an alarmingly high speed directly towards the plane, a moment of impending danger captured in stark detail. According to reports, the situation unfolded due to apparent confusion on the part of the Black Hawk pilot.
Obviously.
He was seemingly unaware of the presence of a second aircraft in the vicinity, which ultimately led to a critical misjudgment. When the flight controller radioed in, asking if the pilot had identified Flight 5342, the pilot confidently confirmed that he had visual contact. However, the plane he was referring to wasn't Flight 5342. It was a completely different aircraft flying above his position. This misidentification proved costly. The pilot, certain he was operating safely, continued his course. Tragically, he ended up flying directly into the path of an oncoming aircraft. The sequence of events highlights the immense complexity and risks of aviation, where even small communication errors or lapses in situational awareness can lead to dangerous, life-threatening outcomes.
Okay, so in case you don't understand what he's saying, plane and helicopter jam. The question is how come? Because normally when your plane take off, somebody did the tower, they direct the plane where to pass. So if another plane they come, they will structure them so that one go day up, the other one go day down. Or they will delay one based on speed so that the other one will not pass. In this case, the second aircraft will jam the plane na helicopter. And helicopter does not work with those their operations with the structure. The helicopter is working based on they are allowed to use their to watch and fly. That's the word. They are allowed to use visual directions. So the helicopter pilot is expected to look if any plane they come. Meanwhile, from the tower that they control the plane. Now they told the helicopter pilot, say, one plane they come, oh, you see him, he say yes. But he was referring to another plane. Actually, he see plane, but not this one when he jam. He was referring to another plane. So now miscommunication happened. Did you see the flight? He say yes. But the flight he see a totally different flight. Now so it say fly, go jam this one. And it be like a training plane. Then they train the pilot. But it's quite unfortunate 60 people were on board. It is well.